Okay, so welcome. It's fun to have you back on Friday. I decided, Lindsay and I were talking, and we said it would be fun to start with a story every time. So we're going to do that. So the Eric Carle book that I picked for today, because he has a lot of books about insects, bugs, is this one right here. It's one of my very favorites, and it's called The Very Quiet Cricket. So we read this one with our Pinehurst young ladies, and they really liked it too. So I'll share it with you. Let's see. And you know, Eric Carle does these fabulous collages using paper that he's painted on. So he paints all kinds of interesting colors on usually tissue paper, and then he cuts them out and creates his drawings. So I think that is so very clever. So if you look at the drawing, that's some of the paper that he painted on, and then he cuts out the paper or tears it, and then he makes his drawing. So isn't that very creative? Can you see that? Even for the bug, that's all different pieces of the colored paper that he paints. That would be a fun project to do, actually. Okay, so here we go. One warm day, from a tiny egg, a little cricket was born. And that's this guy right here, this little tiny cricket right there. Welcome, chirped a big cricket, rubbing his wings together. The little cricket wanted to answer, so he rubbed his wings together. But nothing happened, not a sound. Here's the next page and the pictures for this page, so you know what to picture while you're listening. Good morning, whizzed a locust spinning through the air. The little cricket wanted to answer, so he rubbed his wings together. But nothing happened, not a sound. Ooh, look at this. Do you see who's coming next to talk to him? Do you know what kind of bug that is? What kind of insect that is? Hello, whispered a praying mantis, scraping its huge front legs together. The little cricket wanted to answer, so he rubbed his wings together. But nothing happened, not a sound. Do you see him? He's over here trying so hard, rubbing his wings together, but nothing happened, not a sound. And that repeats on every page. So if you want, you can say that part with me when we get to that part. Look who he meets next. Good day, crunched a worm, munching its way out of an apple. The little cricket wanted to answer, so he rubbed his wings together. Do you remember the line? But nothing happened, not a sound. Oh, look at this one. This one sounds like a very interesting bug. I don't know that I've ever seen this. Maybe some of you have. I like this one. Hi, bubbled the spittlebug, slurping in a sea of froth. The little cricket wanted to answer, so what did he do? He rubbed his wings together, right? But nothing happened, not a sound. Poor little cricket. Here's another one, a new friend. This one, these are very cool bugs. This is a cicada. You can look up some cool YouTube videos about cicadas. Good afternoon, screeched a cicada, clinging to a branch of a tree. The little cricket wanted to answer, so what did he do? Rubbed his wings together. But nothing happened, not a sound. Oh, you guys know what that is. Look at that. And look at all the colors he used. See, he made all that colored paper to tear and cut and make these pictures. Okay, how are you? Hummed a bumblebee, flying from flower to flower. The little cricket wanted to answer. So what did he do? Can you do it? Can you help him? He rubbed his wings together, but nothing happened. Not a sound. Trying to let people in at the same time. Look at that. He was trying so hard because he wanted to talk to his friends. Oh, look at this one. I love the colors on this page. Look at that. Do you know what that is? Good evening, whirred a dragonfly, gliding above the water. The little cricket wanted to answer, so what did he do? Oh, a little bee. So he rubbed his wings together, but nothing happened. Not a sound. Oh, these guys. I'm not so crazy about these guys. These are a bunch of mosquitoes. And they come out in the evening too, don't they? Good night, buzzed the mosquitoes, dancing among the stars. That's a nice way to think about them, though, isn't it? To think about them dancing among the stars. If you see bugs out at night. The little cricket wanted to answer, so he rubbed his wings together. But nothing happened. Not a sound. Oh, look at this one. Have you ever seen one of these? A Luna moth sailed quietly through the night, and the cricket enjoyed the stillness. That's a different page, isn't it? That's all that happened. The cricket just watched the Luna moth and enjoyed the stillness. That's kind of a nice page. As the Luna moth disappeared silently into the distance, see him flying away there? He's up there near the moon. Do you see that? The little cricket saw another cricket. She too was a very quiet cricket. Then he rubbed his wings together one more time. And this time, he chirped the most beautiful sound that she had ever heard. Isn't that fun? Did you like that one? I love that book. I love that story. I think it's so fun. I love to learn. Oh, look at the little bee. I love to learn about the cricket. I love to see all the different other insects and think about them all talking with each other. Anyway, so that's my book for this morning. So how many of you are finding fun books about insects? Either books where you get to learn about them and find out all about what they do, or stories like this, pretend stories about insects being friends with each other. Are you finding some moms that you like? Or are your children finding some that they like? I think that's so fun to have new subjects that we get to find out about and talk about, learn about. Can you guys see the kitty cat in Michelle's picture? Look at that. Look at that cat keeping her company. Does that look like a friendly, nice cat? I think that's so fun. Okay, well, moms, now it's your turn. Now you get to talk and share. Caden's brought some books. Oh, wonderful. I want to hear about him.
I love the Millennial Instructor one about bees.
Oh, yeah.
It's so good. So I want to try some recipes from it this month. And then the Life and Times books, Honeybee and Ant, Life and Times, Ant and Honeybee. And then we just found this one recently at a thrift store, 10 Little Ladybugs. It has the ones they can touch and count. So
that's super cute.
That's what we like this one.
That's fun. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? Anybody else have some good books they found for this month of February where we're talking about insects as part of what we're doing? Lindsay Bunting. Hello, Lindsay.
Hello. We have a few that we really like, but one of my favorites is this one. And it actually doesn't really have to do with ants, but it's called Truman's Ant Farm. And he thinks he's getting an ant farm, but it's like all these ants, A-U-N-T, start showing up. It's really funny.
That's funny.
It's really cute.
That sounds like a book you would have too. I like it. You'll have to bring it for Monday.
Yeah, maybe I'll read that one Monday. So that
Do you
was
have any
fun.
others?
I do. Patricia Polacco is one of our favorite authors, and we have The Bee Tree, which is fun. And it's kind of a repetitious one. They all follow the bee tree, and as they go along in the book, more people add, the group of people gets bigger and bigger as they go to the bee tree. Someone yelling in the background. So anyway, that one's fun. And then we just checked this one out from the library, but we haven't read it yet. The Butterfly, also Patricia Polacco,
Oh, nice.
but we like her.
And I saw you do have The Grouchy Ladybug, because that's another one of Eric Carle's that I.
Oh yeah. Yes, and we like The Grouchy Ladybug.
And what's the spider? He has a spider one too. I don't remember.
I don't know. Let me put my camera.
And everybody knows the Hungry.
I don't have the spider one. Yeah. Oh, no, I was going to show you guys our bugs.
Oh, good. I was hoping you would. Okay, tell them about what this is.
Down in there, we ordered these from Insect Lore. Can you see that praying mantis egg sac? I might have to get it out. But that is a praying mantis egg case, and it has like 100 something praying mantises in it. So when it hatches, it's supposed to take a few months to hatch. There will be like 75 to 200 baby praying mantis in this little thing, and then we release them. And then we have ants, and these guys are super fun to watch because they keep digging these tunnels, and they like gather the ones that died in transport and stuff. They like put them, they used to all be up here. They put all the dead. Now they've moved them. I think they might be on the other side. They keep moving their dead everywhere. And we feed them this little piece of apple every couple days. And I noticed they all sleep in a big pile. So they all kind of are waking up from last night. They all sleep in this little corner. So I'm like, where did they all go? And they all lay on top of each other to sleep. They're so cute. Anyway, they're just funny. They just do these funny little things all day. See, look, this one's carrying like part of a dead body. Wait, where'd it go? Do you see it? It's like they're moving. They just keep moving their dead.
Just cleaning things up.
Yeah, oh, there, dropped it down there somewhere. So they must be gathering them in that corner now. And then these little caterpillars, they came and they were about half that size, actually maybe a third of that size now. They have like doubled in size every day. And we thought they were dead, of course, when they first got here. Can you guys see them? And but they just keep growing. Yeah, and you don't see them move a whole lot, but they are eating, and then they make like this mess out of this food at the bottom. So they will go up to the top of the lid to turn into, oh, look, that one's moving quite a bit. I know. They'll build their little chrysalids at the top of the lid, and then we'll put it into this little holder, that little log thing over there. It like sits standing upright. It'll like go in there until they emerge, and then they turn into their butterflies. And there's where they put the sugar water.
You can already see spots over here.
And then let's see. These are the ladybug larvae, and they are very hard to find because they're so tiny. Only they moved over there. They're so tiny, but they too have like doubled in size since we got them.
You can show me those spots.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you any because they're just so little, but
And you just
I
got
see them
them.
right there.
Didn't you
Kinda
just get
down
them
there.
Thursday or something?
Tuesday.
Mom, there's one right there.
Oh yeah,
I need dark
one on that
stripes.
little paper. Wish I could like zoom in. I don't know if I can zoom in. Oh, I can. So anyway, there's a little one, and we just dropped water onto that blue spiral thing for them to drink, and it came with all their food is in there. And they're down there.
And the water, you
Anyway.
put water in with that.
Yeah, a little dropper that you just drop the water in with.
That's so.
So So we're having lots of fun because we just come and sit in here and just the ants are the most exciting to watch right now because they're busy all day long. And I don't even know what they're doing. We're about to feed them. So here, you want to drop their apple down into the, it's a little scary because they want to get out. So the one's on the lid right now. Okay, just drop it down in there. Okay. The kids though have been kind of freaked out. Like they feel like there's,
Is it over there?
they feel like there's bugs in their food and like in their beds. Like they're all got the EBGBs all the time now with the bugs in the house.
I want to take them outside.
Yeah,
It's fun.
it's fun, huh?
That's awesome. I remember doing that with my kids, so that's so fun to see that. We did so many butterflies. We did lots and lots of butterflies. We did the praying mantises or praying manti. That was amazing. I could not believe how many praying mantises came out of that egg case. There were just all these teeny tiny babies. One day it just boom, they were all over the place inside our little container, and then we put them out in the garden because they're so good for the garden. They're really helpful in the garden. So that's awesome. I've never done ladybugs, so that's cool. And you know, they're called they're beetles. They're not bugs. Did you know that? They're ladybird beetles. Oh, look at that very cute picture of the bee. That's awesome. I like it, York. That's super cool. All right, so many fun things we get to do with insects. I love it. I brought some other insect things for you, or just some other things to remind you. There's stories you can read about insects, right? This is one of my favorite ones. Do you guys like Charlotte's Web? It's about a spider and her best friend. Who's her best friend? What kind of animal is Charlotte's best friend? I can see your mouth. It's a pig. You're right. Good job. So we've got Charlotte and her best friend. Do you remember his name? Anybody remember his name? Let's see. Hold on. Oh, look, Michelle. Hold on, everybody. Before you say York, look at Michelle. Can you do it again, Michelle? Michelle speaks sign language and she teaches it too. And she just signed the word. So York, can you tell us now who it is? Who is Charlotte's best friend?
Wilbur.
Wilbur. You're right. And that's what Michelle just signed. Did you see her W? The W is easy to see, huh? You can tell that's a W. And she signed the whole name Wilbur. That's so cool. Yeah, so Wilbur. And then we have this book. You can get this one online. You can get it free and you can read. And it has stories. It's all full of little stories about insects. So that one is really, really cool. I've enjoyed it a lot. There's a lot of stuff I've learned. So you have ants, bees, spiders, dragonflies, wasps, locusts, mosquitoes, beetles, butterflies, and then a whole other page of more insects. Yeah, right there. A whole other page of them. Yeah, Ruby, did you want to share?
We've been
The grasshopper.
yeah, we've been reading the grasshopper out of that book.
Oh, very cool. Okay, out of this book that I just showed?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And are you liking it?
Uh-huh.
Okay, nice. Nice. I like that. And then I brought for you, oh, hold on. I have two other books. So I have this one. I just like the name of it because I think it's kind of fun. Can you read it? The Icky Bug Alphabet Book. And that's probably for people who think bugs are icky, but I think they're pretty cool. And so for every letter, there's a different bug and it tells you about the bug. So that's kind of fun. And they had to get creative with a few letters, but it's pretty cool. So that one was fun. And then this one I got after I went to go see the monarch butterflies. So this one tells you all about monarch butterflies. So if any of you live near a place where you can go see them, the monarch butterflies, at least in California, they fly down through California as they're migrating. And so you can see them from November through February. There are places that we can see the monarch butterflies. And it is one of the coolest things to see because you go to this grove of eucalyptus trees that's over at the beach. And if you look up in the trees, it just looks like the trees are full of leaves. And then you look closer and you see, oh my goodness, those aren't leaves. Those are giant clusters of butterflies. And you'll look and they'll just be sitting there and they're all closed up with their wings. But then if the sun shines on them, all of a sudden they all open their wings up so that they can get warm and feel the sun. So you've got this dark cluster of all these butterflies, and all of a sudden, and you see their wings go out and you see all of this color. I'll bet you can find some YouTube videos about that you could watch and see really, really cool monarch butterflies. And then if you remember last week, we learned from Melanie and her daughters about the fairy shrimp. So we talked about that in our Pinehurst for Young Ladies on Monday. That was super cool. And we also learned that those were what in my day you could buy. They were called sea monkeys. And you could take the dried fairy shrimp. I don't know if you can still get them, and you put them in a container and you added water and some kind of something else, which might have been whatever is in those vernal ponds that lets them grow. And they would grow and they'd swim around for a little while. And anyway, so that was kind of a fun thing to learn. So Melanie and your girls, thanks for sharing that with us. And I think it's the coolest thing that was an insect that it's really a crustacean, but that's all right. We're kind of gonna throw them in there. That is something you learned about while you were out discovering. And you guys, can you see York's picture of his dragon? I'm guessing that's yours, York. Did you do that one? Can you nod your head, yes or no? Did you color that one? I can't hear you, buddy, but you can say yes or no, or I'm pretty sure you know how to do that. There we go. Did you color that one?
Yeah.
I love the colors you chose. I think that's super creative. Good job. This has kind of become a fun share and tell day. I like it. Look what I brought to show you. Can you see? I know there's a reflection on it. There we go. So these are butterflies that came from Ecuador, from down in South America, because my in-laws, they lived there for 3 years and they were able to pick up some cool things. This one might have come from Peru. I can't remember, but they were down there and got to go to different places. But all of these different butterflies that are from different countries, because these aren't the normal ones that we see, are they? These are different ones. Aren't those pretty? And that's kind of a fun way to display them after they die, to take them and save them so that you can still look at them. I think that's pretty cool. All right, so do you know, I know that all of you children like things like this, but also I think the moms are starting to enjoy learning about different things like insects and other things. I would love to hear about what other things you moms have been learning about that have been warming your heart this month. I just couldn't resist the opportunity to talk about bugs with the kids for just a little bit. So any moms have things you want to share about your month and what you're learning about?
I've been doing more things about the Middle East.
I've been
reading some picture books that I bought for my kids, but I was reading them because I thought they were interesting. And I posted this on my Facebook, this video of music with the Middle Eastern background. Like it's like a 4K video of different things, and it's just so beautiful to see these countries that I had never studied before I was an adult. And I'm just so happy that I can learn it now, and my kids can learn it now. But let me grab one book really quick.
Yeah, I'd love to see. Oh, that's so much fun. Just the other day I realized, one of our moms, she just watches. She isn't able to come on Fridays, but she lived in the Middle East. And I thought, we should have her come and share with us some of her experiences, because these places that you're learning about, Cadence, are things that she's been there. So how cool is that? Okay, yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I'm loving the Persian tales too. And they're so not in what I'm used to for fairy tales. So it just makes your mind think, and it's just fun. It doesn't have to make sense or be realistic or anything. It's a fairy tale, but it's just fun to read. So, but this book that I wanted to share it's called The Librarian of Basra, and it's called A True Story from Iraq. So this was the librarian who saved a bunch of books when there was bombing going on in Iraq. And I don't remember exactly when it was, what year it was, but it was just so great because she works with the community, like other people, to hide the books and save them. And she hides them in her restaurant, and she hides them in or her friend's restaurant and her friend's house. Every cupboard is full of books. I'll show you that one page. Where is it? Oh yeah, here it is. The house with full of the books in every cupboard.
Oh, wow.
Under all the furniture, trying to save it. She couldn't save all of it, but she saved enough that there was a lot, and so that they could have a library again. But the soldiers weren't willing to help or to guard it or whatever. The library just kind of became a building that they put their guns on top of. So I can't remember exactly what happens at the end, but I know she saves it and she wants to build a new library. So that's
What a
it.
beautiful book. I love that. And you know what I thought was interesting? This is just a little minor thing, but you're telling this story, telling us about this book and this story, and it is a beautiful and heartwarming thing that she did, right? And as your little side things, like I can't remember when this was, and I'm realizing how unimportant those details are, right? It doesn't really matter so much at all when, right? But just that this happened. So I think that's so neat. You know, it's just so much more important to learn the stories and why those things are important. Okay, so I love this. This is cool. I'm just looking at the thing that you shared. I don't mean to have the volume on, sorry. But Middle Eastern music with beautiful scenic relaxation of the Middle East. So that's on Cadence's account on Facebook, but you can look it up on YouTube. I don't know if that is even clear enough. I can't. There you go. So that's something that she shared. So if you wanted to have a little bit of experience there, listening to that music and seeing some of the places, because if you only listen to the news, if that's your only exposure to other countries, you're missing out big time on all of the rich and wonderful things. There's just so much more out there. Okay, are you guys all enjoying looking at Michelle's preschool room? Isn't that so much fun? She gets to teach preschool in her house. She's a friend of, well, she's a friend of all of ours, obviously, but she and Lindsay and I are good friends, and we love to talk to Michelle and learn from Michelle. So are you picking out books over there, Michelle? Or are you just checking them out for your preschool stuff?
No, I'm trying to find one to share with you guys about bees. And anyway, I'm searching for it just so I can share it.
Yeah, but you can tell us about bees, can't you?
Yes, a little bit.
And why is that? Why is it that you know a little bit about bees?
Oh, I used to have bees. Unfortunately, I lost the hive a couple of seasons ago because of a freeze we had up here in Tehachapi in May of so anyway, I'm getting ready to reorder bees. They probably will come in April. So anyway, so I used to go around with my daughter, my youngest daughter, and we would go to some of the schools in Bakersfield and teach a little bit about bees. And anyway, they're really fascinating.
What's your favorite thing that you learned about bees?
Oh gosh, there's so much. Maybe, okay, so there's this movie called The Bee Movie, and it is so inaccurate that I can't stand watching it. But because what they do is they make the bees, they're the bees that go out and collect the pollen. They are in the animation, they portray them as male bees, which is very incorrect because all the bees that go out and collect pollen and do all the work are all female bees. And the male bees are called drones. The only thing I mean, they're important, don't get me wrong, but what they do is their job is to mate with the queen and eat. That's their basic job. And they do not have stingers, so male bees cannot sting you. And then when the weather starts to change from summer to fall, the female bees actually kick the drones out because all they do is eat. And so the male bees are kicked out and they actually have to fend for themselves. And usually they don't make it through the winter. So
That's super interesting. Isn't that fascinating what you can learn when you just spend a little bit of time with something?
mhm.
And so you have a bee suit and everything, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Oh,
And so what's fun about that, I was never afraid of bees. And now that I'm a little bit fearful of them just because I know what they can do now. But when I have the bee suit on and you're collecting the honey, if you start to smell, they give off a pheromone. It almost smells like bananas. And if you ever smell, you'll only smell that smell if you're near a hive. If you smell that fruity smell, that means you need to leave quickly because they're ready to attack. So one day I was with my brother and we were taking all the frames out and getting the honey, and I was like, "Oh, that smells really good." And then I was like, "Oh, we need to." I mean, we had our suits on, so we were good. But I was like, "Oh, that means they're ready to attack because they're trying to defend their hive, their home."
right. I think that's fascinating. And wouldn't you, if you'd done all that work and collected all that honey, wouldn't you want to defend it too? I love understanding that because then it doesn't make them scary. You understand why they do what they do. And so if you're out and you're around bees and you're looking at them on flowers, you're fine. If you're not messing with them and you're not threatening them, it's super fun to just sit and watch them because they're not going to be trying to defend their honey.
They're not. And then bees have jobs. So there are guard bees. They'll guard the hive, and then that's when they're younger. When they get older is when they go out and start collecting. But the guard bees will actually give up their lives to protect the hive. So that's really interesting. And then just to let all the moms and kids that are listening know, if you see a bee and it starts to come towards you, typically they're not trying to be aggressive. They are just trying to look for food or water. And if you slowly walk away, don't scream and start making your hands go all over, because that's when they start to get scared and they'll sting you. But if you're ever around a lot of bees for some reason, and you're outside, if you go around a tree or around a bush, it actually distracts them. And so they'll start going around the tree, and they're like, instead of focusing on you, they'll go, "Oh, a tree." And so they'll go up into the tree. So you can go around in circles. You walk in circles around a bush or a tree or something like that.
That's super interesting. That's really fun. I'm probably not afraid enough of them. I've been stung a few times, but I love watching them. I just think that's so amazing. You watch them as the pollen's collecting, on, I don't know exactly how, but
Yeah, have little baskets on their legs.
it's just fascinating. Very cool. I love it. And I'll let you keep looking for your book. Sorry.
All
Sorry
right.
to distract you. Okay, anybody else? Oh, Melanie.
My daughter wants to share a book with you.
Oh, perfect.
It's called the My Little Animal Book.
And it has a bunch of animals and also has insects in it.
Oh, nice. Oh, I'm going to add it to my list, My Little Animal Book, and it has insects too. Okay, thank you for sharing. That's awesome. And that's one of your favorite books?
Yeah, but we don't read it as much.
You just look at the pictures?
We looked through it a lot more when they were littler because
Oh, sure.
more of a this is the animal kind of book.
Right. Oh, but I like it. I like all the pictures. I'll bet my granddaughter would love looking at all those pictures.
There's still a lot more.
Oh, and lots of colors on the pages too.
You want to find some with some bugs?
Very nice. Oh, I love it. And I love that you guys like books. That they're books you have that are your favorites or that are ones you remembered. Oh, wait, I remember there are insects in this book. I love it. Okay, well, thanks for sharing. That's awesome. And Mary, you had something? Oh,
There we go. So we live in Utah and there's a place called Thanksgiving Point and there's a butterfly biosphere. So here is a picture I got of my son holding, they let you hold the butterflies. And so, and these ones are usually, it's hard to get their wings open, but this one was just really friendly that day and he kept his hands and his wings open. So I got a picture. So, and we've actually got quite a few pictures of him holding butterflies, but it's really cool.
That is super cool. And look, we have a butterfly in the book that was being shown earlier, and ladybird beetle and a whole bunch of others. Wow, that holding the ladybug, that was pretty fantastic. I mean, holding the butterfly. That's pretty awesome to be able to see that. Wow, you guys, thanks for sharing. That's awesome. Okay, back to the mamas. Moms, do you have other things you want to share about things you're learning? We've hit insects a bunch because that's just so much fun because they're all around us, right? And the Middle East, that's very cool to learn about other countries and people and how they work. Wow, look at all those insects. Just to learn about the rest of the world around us, I think is such an important thing. Yeah, Mary.
So in the Book of Delights, that's usually the first book I download because I don't have any of the print books in print yet. And I loved looking through it. I just got called to be the primary chorister. And one of the songs we're learning was Jesus Once Was a Little Child. And it has 4 verses written in here. It doesn't have the chorus that I'm used to in the primary book, but it has 4 verses. Like, well, that's cool. I'm only teaching 2 because that's all it's in the primary book. And then my daughter was looking through that yesterday, just flipping through, and she's like, hey, I've got this picture hanging by my bed because it has all those pictures of Christ that a lot of us are familiar with. I think it's ones by Carl Bloch, and she has one of those like pass along cards hanging by her bed. She's like, that's the same picture. So it was fun that she made that connection.
Yeah, I love that. We were looking at this earlier too. So Mary's talking about leading the music, teaching the music in primary, and that's an organization that's for children, like a Sunday school kind of thing. And they come and they learn about Jesus and they sing songs and things like that. So that's neat. I saw this one, and this was a song I learned in primary, and it's in the in there too. I think when I read That Sweet Story of Old, that's probably like an older person. I don't know. I don't know, but I learned it when I was in primary. But I love that there are these beautiful pictures. Isn't that fun to go through that book? I think it's calming for me. You know, I recommend this to all moms. I don't care if you're teaching your children at home or not. This is a book that all of us can enjoy because they're beautiful pictures. Lots of poetry. Just love it. And like Mary said, you can just get it online. It's free. And you have all the photos, all the poems and things, and you can print them out if you want to too. But there's a section for the Middle East, all the different things that we're talking about. I just love that. I love we have access to all of these things. Did somebody else come on and want to share? I'm sorry, Melanie. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, we were looking at that book yesterday and found it interesting to see they listed names of different countries that had pictures of Christ with children, and it was interesting to see just how they were different, you know.
Oh, right. I think that's really fascinating too, and I love the different pictures in our Pinehurst Academy for Young Ladies. A few of the girls are going through these books, and so they're finding poetry that they love or paintings that they love, and it's fun to see what is interesting to them. Okay, how many of you want to see real photos of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon? I just want to know what those looked like. When I read stories about that, you know, that whoever it was created these gardens for his wife because he had taken her to wife and she came from a land. Do any of you know? I don't remember where she came from, but she came from a place that was beautiful and green, and he brought her to the desert, you know, to where his palace was or whatever. But he created the Hanging Gardens of Babylon for her so that she would have this beautiful place where she could go and walk and enjoy all of the plants and everything. But I think, well, where are the pictures? I want to know what it looked like. I know there aren't pictures from back then, but it just fascinates me, and that's something I wish that I could see. Anybody know anything more about the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, or know good books or Anything? It's okay if you don't. It's just one of my little, every time I hear about it, I think, oh, I want to know more about that. Okay, anybody else? Michelle, did you find your book? Oh, yay.
I won't read it. I'll just share it with you. So it's You Wouldn't Want to Live Without Bees is the name of the book. And it basically just goes through and talks about the anatomy of the honeybee and what is a bee, what are the parts of a bee, are there different types of bees, what is life like in the hive, why do bees swarm, how do bees make honey. So it just goes, there's lots of information. What do beekeepers do? How else do bees help us? Actually, elephants, you guys may know this, elephants are afraid of bees. And in some countries, they put up beehives around to protect their, let's see, let me read this. It says, for example, beehive fences are used in Africa to keep elephants from trampling farmland. Fields are surrounded by beehives hung from wires. If an elephant touches the wire, the hives shake and the bees come out, which drives the elephants away. The beehive fence is a bit like an electric fence, but it's cheaper. It doesn't hurt the elephant, and honey and pollinators come with it.
That is so interesting. I didn't know that.
So just a lot of information in a cute little book.
Does it say the author?
It does. It is written by Alex Wolf, Woolf.
Wonderful. Thanks for sharing that. That's super interesting. If you don't have it, maybe you could check it out of the library. That's really neat. I love that. Okay, anything else? I know we're lower numbers today. It's the same time as the little class that happens in Mighty Networks. They found some of the people that they've met with to do their special classes can only meet on Fridays, so it's kind of a bummer. I have to figure that out in the future so we don't have a conflict, because that makes it hard. But anyway, anything else mamas want to share? Things we're doing, things we're working on, that are getting better, things we're struggling with, and want to know if anybody else has some answers or suggestions.
So sorry, I'm talking a lot, but
No, it's great.
so I forget who, I think it was Lindsay or you suggested the is it Hillsdale College?
Yes.
So the children's literacy
Yeah, literature
course. So I started doing that, and it's been so great. I've been learning so much, and then I've been able to, pass on what I'm learning to my youngest daughter, which is really great. And I'm really excited about it, because in my adulthood is where I'm learning so much more than I did growing up. And I'm so much more interested in these things now as an adult. And just all of you ladies have just inspired me so much. And I just want to keep learning and learning about so many different things, and it's great. So thank you for all of your advice and everything that you share.
I'm so happy that you did that. I love when somebody follows up on one of those things, because it's amazing the courses that they have for free online. And that one on children's literature is really good. And I feel the same way. As an adult, I am enjoying learning so much because I want it. And so I'm eating it all up, and I love it. I'm not saying I remember any of it, but it's gone in there. So it's in there somewhere and maybe it'll come out if I need it. But I loved that children's literature course. I loved, they have one that's called America. Oh, darn it. I was trying to see if I could find it. I was in the middle of it and I went to the list of, okay, classic children's literature is one. The Great American Story, A Land of Hope. That one is so interesting. And the thing that is so great about all of these is the people who are teaching it they're passionate about their subjects, and you feel it, you can tell, and that makes such a difference. It's that whole idea of in the homeschool world they call it living books, and those are books written by not a living person necessarily, but the book is alive because it's written by somebody who cares about what they're writing about, and they're excited to share their knowledge. And there are thousands of books that are in that category that range from way back in the days of Aristotle, Plato, those kind of works, which you might think are very hard to understand and inaccessible. I was shocked when I first picked those up. I think in high school, I was led to believe that those were highbrow and out of my reach. They're not, and I'm not that smart. So they're open for anybody. You can get those out and read and realize, oh my goodness, these are amazing. These are wonderful works, and I can understand them. So they're alive because the person who is writing about it cares about it. There's a Constitution class, a couple different ones. There are Bible, the ones on the Bible, one on Aristotle's ethics, how to lead a good life. What a great subject. World Wars, Congress. There's one on Jane Austen and different books. Mark Twain. That one was really interesting too. It's just Shakespeare. I'm sorry, I gotta put it down. So there are a whole bunch of them there that you can go and look up. Just look up Hillsdale College free online courses. All you have to do is sign up, and they'll send in your email, they'll send you the link. Then they have your email, and they'll write to you occasionally and ask you if you want to support what they do. They are an amazing place. It's a private college. They don't receive any government funding. So there is no one that can tell them what they have to do, what they can or can't do. And it's pretty awesome. So, so if you don't mind the occasional email, and if you have an extra, little bit of cash, you can send it their way. It really is so worth it. They do such wonderful things. They send out a free magazine every month. You can sign up for that, and there are great things on it. It's very conservative, but yay me, I'll push the conservative anytime I can. I love for people to be open to that. Learn and see what you think. Decide for yourself. But there's so many good things there. So I'm glad you brought that up, Michelle. So you're enjoying it. How are any of the books that they're talking about familiar to you? And is it kind of opening up some, like a desire to maybe go back, or books you haven't read that you think, wow, I want to read that. That's now I want that. I want to know what it says. I want to experience that for myself.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've been, of course, I grew up with the Disney version of most of these fairy tales. And so it's kind of cool to go back and actually read where they actually came from. And so my daughter and I are reading, I think there are a set of books that they use in, let me go grab them. Now I have to grab them. But it has all the like Aesop's Fables and Alice in Wonderland and Winnie the Pooh.
So like a treasury of children's literature or something.
It's called The Young Folks Shelf of Books.
Oh,
Is it
wonderful.
Yeah.
That's a great series. Yeah.
So somebody actually just recently gave these to me. And it was funny because after I started doing the course online, I was like, oh, I want to read all these books now. And so I started going on Amazon and putting them in my cart. And then I realized, wait a second, they're probably in here.
Yeah.
Started reading through the books, and a lot of them are in here. So we've been reading them every day. We've been reading all the different stories. And anyway, I love it. It's just great. I just love it. So
I'm so glad. There's nothing like fairy tales. I love to listen to good stories, fairy tales and children's stories. C.S. Lewis said something about all literature should be able to be read by adults and be interesting. Children's literature should be too. Otherwise, it's not good, not worth them reading.
They said it shouldn't just be enjoyed by children. Adults should be able to enjoy it too.
Thank you. Yeah, and I agree. But it's so much fun to go back and read these stories. We don't ever grow out of those things. But for anybody who's interested, they talk about, oh, the first lesson that is in this free course that talks about the moral imagination and why that's important and what that is. That alone is fascinating. It's 14 minutes. You can listen to it while you're doing the dishes, or I listen to them while I'm going to bed, while I'm getting ready for bed. It has Beauty and the Beast, obviously very different version than what we know. The Snow Queen, again different. We know maybe more of that if you follow Well-Educated Heart, and you've heard Marlene Peterson talk about that. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, Aesop's Fables, or Aesop, however you say that. The Stories of Beatrix Potter. I love Beatrix Potter stories. Those are fabulous for kids. They have such great vocabulary, fun words to learn. And then her illustrations are incredible. A.A. Milne, so those are all the Winnie the Pooh stories. Treasure Island and The Wind in the Willows. And for me, The Wind in the Willows, I hadn't liked it when I was younger and read it. But after taking that course, I reread it just recently, and I loved it. I could see all the lessons on friendship, which is really the stories that you get out of that one. It's just fun to learn a little bit more and then experience those stories again. And obviously this month is storytelling. So practice telling stories, even if you're just telling yourself while you're getting ready in the morning or at nighttime or you're cooking or something. Just practice telling stories. I do believe that that's an art that had started to die, and now it's kind of being revived. And I think it's a wonderful thing to be able to tell a story. There are settings that we're in sometimes where it would just be a lovely thing to be able to share a story, hear a story. Do you know any storytellers? Has that been an experience anybody's had, that they've been around a good storyteller and you've enjoyed that experience? We're so tiny that it's hard to find. Here we go.
My grandma died in October last year, and went to her funeral. And as I thought back on her life, I realized that was one of the things that I'll always remember is her stories. She was a really good storyteller. She was very animated, and she was the embodiment of a well-educated heart. And I didn't really recognize that until I thought of her life as a whole in that way at that time. And she was just a lifelong learner, and she was very excited to learn things. And so every time she would learn something new and you'd come and visit her, she would just very animatedly tell you all about it and make everybody else want to learn about it too. And so that was, that was fun to recognize.
I love that. And that's not a missed opportunity, Melanie, because now you get to think about that and reflect about her life and let her inspire you in all that you do. So I love that you recognize that now and can use that. That's beautiful. Anybody else?
A butterfly, but her grandma has, and my grandpa Smith helped her
Grandma.
My grandma catch butterflies. Like Mama told me that it would be fun to have the grandpa maybe show us some tips to looking at butterflies, because I've never seen a butterfly and I want to see one in person.
Right. It's kind of magical. So you're going to see if Grandpa will show you, give you some tips on that. And so have you seen the butterflies that your mom's grandma had in the cases?
No.
I think she was too young to really visit great grandma
I
much,
don't-
but
I don't
because she
think
lived in
I
Utah.
lied. I don't sing live a lot.
But so my grandma caught hundreds of butterflies, and it really became a huge passion for her. And she just had probably dozens of cases like full of butterflies. And something I didn't learn until the funeral was that she started that passion because she was helping my dad with a school project where he was supposed to collect like 10 bugs. And she just became so fascinated seeing the different kinds of butterflies in her own backyard that she started to search more for it. And through the years, there were times that she found butterflies that she couldn't find in any of her books that helped her identify what kind it was. And so she contacted the Smithsonian and said, hey, can you help me figure this out? And they said, we don't know anything about that. We don't have those. We haven't seen them before. Can you send them to us so that we can have more in our collection? So she donated several cases to the Smithsonian.
Yeah.
And so that was,
Wow, that's super cool.
Some people didn't even ever catch any of those butterflies, but she found them and then catch them and then donated them to that museum, I think.
That is really amazing. That's a really cool story. That'd be fun to go visit the Smithsonian and see the butterflies that your great grandma collected. Very cool. So you know, a storybook that you might really like is one called A Girl of the Limberlost. That is a great story, and you'll learn about the lady who collected so many bugs, insects, including butterflies and moths. So that might be kind of fun to learn about that.
If you
Wow.
you ever get an opportunity to look at butterflies, look at them under the microscope and look at their wings and the patterns, the color patterns. It's really cool.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They actually
Okay.
have they're almost like feathers, the patterns, and it's so anyway, it's really cool. If you can look at it under a microscope, it's really, really awesome.
I'm gonna do that. And I wonder, you know, for one, sometimes if you go exploring and you're really looking, you can find even, you know, a dead butterfly where you can take that butterfly back home and look at it. And you can often find microscopes for pretty cheap if you just keep your eyes open. So that's a great tip. Thanks, Michelle. Well, ladies and children, it's been super fun today to talk with you about all these things. So I'm so happy that you were here. And Melanie, I think that story about your grandmother being the embodiment of all of these good, warm, heartwarming things, that excitement about learning and the sharing, telling stories about the things that she's learned, that is a really good way, a good thought to end on, I think, is celebrating a life like that and remembering a person like that who can inspire us to have a love of learning, to be excited about that, and to get out there and just be aware of our surroundings and find all the beautiful things in the world around us. Heavenly Father has given us just a world full of beauty. We just have to open our eyes and warm our hearts so that we can see those things. So I encourage you to do that this week and see the beauties all around you in all the different places, because life can be really hard and we need those little spots, those little bits of beautiful things to help us get through it all. And so I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you and your comments and everything that you share here and your friendship. It means so much to me. So thanks for being here. Have a good week, everybody. Bye-bye. And you're welcome to share if anybody wants to stay and share after we close. But we'll see you next week.